Hey friends, you are with Kim Byers at the Celebration Shop and we are crafting with vinyl today. So it's time for back to school and all the schools this year, well I guess every year, but this year in particular are wanting labels, like names on things. As a matter of fact, my kiddos' school said if there weren't names on the things, they were actually going to toss them. There's no lost and found this year. They're just gonna throw them in the trash if there's no name on them. So I want to make sure that that's not happening to my kids, and I would love for that not to happen to your kids. So we are going to put labels on pencil pouches and water bottles today. So I'm gonna show you all the things with vinyl, and so we'll hop over to Cricut Design Space. I'll show you how to set it up, and then we'll go over to the craft table and put everything together. And if you like what I'm doing here today, guys, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and join me every week for new videos. Okay, let's get going. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space, and all I've done is gone in and started a new canvas. So from the home page, you can do new, and then once you're inside of Cricut Design Space, like once you finish a project, you can select new. It'll give you a brand new clean canvas to work with. So I've gone ahead and done a couple of things just to get us started. And so what I'm going to show you is how to select fonts, and then how to modify those fonts a little bit if you need to, and then maybe how to add another element if you want. So this is my niece's name, and we call her Addie Bug, so I thought it would be really cute to put a little ladybug on her pencil pouch. So let's go into text really quick and I'll show you what I've done. So if you go in, you can choose fonts when you're on your computer. You can choose fonts that are also on your computer. So this top one is actually called Aloha March. You can see it there in my panel. Now that is not something in Cricut. That is something that I own on my computer. And then this font is called Car Decals, and this is actually a Cricut Access font. So if you are working, on your phone, or if you don't have any other fonts on your computer, you can get some beautiful ones, some fun ones right within Cricut Access. Okay, so once you do this, so let's just grab, I'm going to type in a font. I'm going to use Aloha March. Actually, you know what? I'll use this one just because I had to do it with both of them. Every font is different. And so when you pull it in, you can have little oddities with it, right? So like the spacing here actually looks okay on the ADD, but the Y looks separate. It looks kind of hanging out there by itself. And then when I did this font up top, it was kind of the A that was hanging out alone. So what you can do is, if you want to reduce the space between these letters, you can just go up to letter space and then select, I can show you this again, every font is different. When you go down to 0, it puts them really, really close together with this particular font, but that Y is still kind of out there. So I don't want them quite that close, so I'm gonna open it back up a little bit. But because the Y is hanging, let's go back into text and we'll just type Y, okay? And so now we have this extra Y. I'm gonna put it where I think it should go. Okay, so then I'm going to click back on Addie, and I'm gonna delete the Y from it. So now I'm gonna grab all of those, the ADD and the Y, and I'm going to attach them. So now when I send them to the mat, these letters are going to cut out together. Okay, and so now let's talk about adding a little bug. So if we go over into images, just whatever your child would want. So very basic, very simple, but when you pull it in, it is 3 colors and 4 cuts, and I really want it to be simple and only 2 colors. So I am going to click on these little nodes, and I'm going to hide those, and then I'm going to click on the little body, and I'm going to make it a color that I'm already cutting, which is black, and then it's got 2 more colors. But if you notice, this red is really just underneath the top wings, and so if you hide that, it's just going to show through. So then I have a 2-color bug, and I'm only cutting 2 layers of vinyl. I think this, works better for this particular project. Now, if I were doing paper, I might have a ton of different layers, but with vinyl, I pretty much stick with 2 tops. Okay, so now I already have my bug, so I'm just going to delete that real quick. Now we need to look at our colors. So I already had Addie, and this is going on a pink water bottle, so we're just going to stick with that, but you can go up here and choose colors, and if you don't see the color you want, you can always go into advanced and pick anything you want. And then for these two up here, everything looks good there. We'll go ahead and make sure that we have the right machine. I'm going to be using the Maker today, and we'll select Make It. Okay, so now that we're on the mats, we have 3 different colors, black, pink, and hot pink. Now you don't need to mirror because we are doing vinyl and not iron-on, so everything looks good and we can continue. Now this is where we're going to select our material, and these little stars, these are things that I have made a favorite in the past, so they show up on my home page. If you have not selected favorites, then as you go in to browse materials, so if you chose whatever it was, you just click that little star and it'll make it a favorite for you. So the material I'm going to use is premium vinyl, which is already a favorite. So I have my material, I'm going to be using my fine point blade, and we're ready to go over to the craft table and put the material on the mat. Okay, so here we are on the craft table. Just a couple of things. So I have 3 different colors of vinyl. I'm going to use the hot pink vinyl on the water bottle, and I'm going to use the black and the light pink on my pencil pouch. And by the way, this little cutie came from Target. They actually had a couple of different colors, and I think I paid $5 for it. And I'm also going to be using my Cricut tools and a pair of scissors, and always, I'm using my acrylic ruler to measure everything and make sure that what I'm doing in Cricut Design Space is going to fit. Okay, so let's move this all out of the way and we'll put our first material on the mat. So one of my favorite things about crafting is you can change your mind. So I'm actually going to swap out the pink for this really cute buffalo check, and I think that's going to look really great on my little pencil pouch. One thing I just want to remind you guys is you take your acrylic ruler and you make sure that you have measured the space that you are going to use. So that's roughly 2 inches by 7 3/4, and our design is much smaller than that, so it's going to fit really well just on one panel of our pencil pouch. Okay, so let's set that aside, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut the black first, which is going to be Addie's name and the base for the little bug, and I need roughly 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. So I'm just going to take one of my pieces, and we're going to take this cutter, and the thing I love about this cutter is that it has a ruler on both sides, so I can make sure that I'm cutting my material correctly and I'm not wasting anything. So we're going to grab it right there and cut it up, and then I'm going to be able to open it up and then just cut the length that I was looking for. Perfect. Okay, and then we'll put this on the mat and we'll take it over to the machine. And because this is vinyl, we're going to do it face up. And you can always take your scraping tool and just make sure that your material is perfectly down. Okay, let's go. Okay, so here we are with the machine. Just put it under the guides, feed it in, and the Maker does all the work. Okay, and so now we will just weed this out. And sometimes I leave it on the mat when it's a smaller element like this, just because it holds it down while I weed. But black is pretty easy for me to see anyway. Some colors are not, and when the colors are difficult to see, then I'll break out my bright pad and use it. But these are pretty simple, and they're pulling away really easy. So you just grab all of those pieces, and then we will put on the next color. And for our next color, we're just going to take out the little dots. Okay, so now that we have both of those elements together, what we can do is go ahead and layer the wings onto the bug, and then we'll pick the whole thing up at one time with our transfer tape. Okay, and then we just have to be very, very careful about how we do this, because you really only get one shot. And there are, you can't really see it on camera most likely, but there are little cut lines here that kind of give some guidance as to where the wings would go. I'm gonna turn the little bug. Oh, look how cute that turned out. Oh my goodness, I love it. Okay, so let's grab our transfer tape really quickly and we will put this on our pencil pouch. If you've not seen transfer tape, this is what it looks like. It actually says transfer tape and it has grids on it. And we are using the standard transfer tape because this is just vinyl and it's not very hard to pick up. So I cut out a piece that is roughly the size of our design. And what you want to do is you just want to peel it away at the edge. And I actually use my transfer tape a couple of times, guys, just FYI. I'm going to use my mat. And it has grids, so you can use those grids to make sure that you are getting it, you know, straight. So you can actually use the grids to make sure that wherever you're putting it, it's straight. Okay, so then use your scraping tool and just kind of make sure you get in all the little pieces around the design so it picks everything up at one time. And once you think you have that, I'm gonna pull it off my mat. I put it on my mat because I didn't want it to stick to my table. Okay, so now we have it on the transfer tape. So you're just going to peel it away. And you peel your backer away, not the transfer tape away, so that way you don't, you know, risk getting a crease in it or anything like that. Fantastic. And see, you layered the vinyl on top of the vinyl and then the transfer tape picked them up together. So now it's time to apply the vinyl. And one of the reasons I chose this pencil pouch is because it's a little bit different type of material. And before I got started, I did make sure that vinyl would stick to it fine and not just, you know, peel away. But I wanted to show you because it's kind of odd, right? It's not like putting vinyl onto something flat and simple. So that's another reason I wanted to layer the vinyl before I tried to layer it onto the material because see, it's springy. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to, I use my ruler for absolutely everything. Place my ruler basically at the edge so I can kind of get a visual over top as to where it will make it centered. And about right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sort of use my finger to put it down. And then I'm going to put my hand on the inside of the pencil pouch to give it something firmer to go against. So coming from the corner, you're going to kind of have to use both hands. So you're going to pull from the edge. And it's wanting to kind of pull it up a little bit. So there we go. Okay, so next we need to cut out our hot pink for our water bottle. Okay, so then we can use our scraping tool to put it in place and we'll go over to the machine. Okay, so we've cut out our material and I am just going to weed it out a little bit while it's still on the mat. Okay, so now let's use our transfer tape, and I'm actually going to use the piece that we used before. Just take the transfer tape off of the backer. And I'm going to use my mat so it doesn't stick to my table. Okay. And you can use your scraping tool to sort of make sure that it gets down around all of the lettering. It's not such a big deal when the lettering is kind of like this, but when you have smaller elements, you definitely want to get in there just so that it picks everything up easily. Okay, and so then peel your backer away at an angle away from your lettering. Okay, now we have that on our transfer tape, and let's see. So we have our bottle, and this is where her mouth will be, or is this how it opens? Ooh, this is how it opens. So we're gonna put it on the side. Make sure you center, and you can use your grids on your transfer tape, and you can just press it down with your fingers. Make sure you kind of get around and all of those. And I would use the scraping tool, except this is rounded. So I'm thinking my fingers are probably going to do a better job. And then, as always, guys, from either corner, you peel it off at an angle. Ta-da! Perfect! Okay, so what did you think? That was really easy to do, and it can be super cute, right? And so vinyl is inexpensive, easy to apply, no reason for the kiddos not to have their names on stuff. So I hope that you like what we did here today. I put all the links to everything down below so you can check those out. If you have any questions, I would love for you to leave them in the comments and I'll do my very best to help you out there. And guys, if you like what I did today, please, please, please hit that subscribe button and join me every week for new videos. Okay, I'll see you next time.